Hi girlies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mavir and here we talk about life and how we cope with it while looking like baddies and doing our makeup. Intellectual baddies, little chit chat. I don't want to call it a podcast because I don't feel like it's a podcast. It's an open discussion for me and you while we do our makeup because we like to think critically to cope with life while looking like baddies. Doing our makeup. That's really what's going on. But today I want to talk about a topic that hits really close to home with me. It is self-doubt. And if you haven't already subscribed or you want to check out some of my other stuff, please feel free to do so, especially on Insta and TikTok, where I review a lot of products, like makeup products. And I just want to give you a little preview. This is like my little Sephora bag. Okay, so in the next upcoming month, we will be reviewing this viral TikTok blush. Super excited to use this mauve color, and then two Colfi products. First time ever using Colfi. I don't know if you guys have heard of this brand, but I got their Fig lip oil stain and their new tubing mascara. I'm super excited. And a subscriber on here told me to try I don't know what the brand is, Pepper Care. This is the Ink Velvet lip. They recommended me try like some bolder colors that I knew that weren't gonna look good on me, so I just didn't go for that color. But we have so many products that I cover on the short forms that were due throughout the month, and I love to just connect on you. I do like really fun things, like I tried the viral Dubai chocolate and tried to test out like a long wearing lip product against it to see how long it would last, and it was so interesting. It was an interesting video and really fun to make. But let's just get into it, where we talk about how to deal with self-doubt. Ooh, it's a doozy. And it is a voice in my head that I have heard for years now. Okay, gonna try to do this without my shirt flipping over. Self-doubt has been something that I have struggled with for as long as I could remember because of, things that happen growing up and just people in general. I feel like our society is kind of built on instilling, like, can you really do it? Like, whenever you hear any successful person, they're always like talking about mindset. And I feel like it is for good reason, because man, mindset is like a big part of everything you do. Funny, because it is like literally the hardest thing to kind of overcome your own self narratives, your own self beliefs. And for a lot of us, they're so hard to overcome because we really believe them, because a lot of them come in childhood. They come from the people closest to us or our peers. And like, if you fail, like, rejection is a big thing. And then if you fail at something or you get heavily criticized, it's hard. It is hard to overcome all those things. And not to mention with social media, where we're kind of like in the midst of comparison. Like, we have every person just on the tips of our fingers to compare to. I have like a personality type where I'm very much like a perfectionist, and I just want to be like, no, but like, guys, I'm a perfectionist because I had filmed a video about how to do my makeup, drugstore edition, while like keeping it in a budget, and I just thought that video wasn't going to do that well. And I am filming the second video, and this is the second video that was going to be filmed like in a week or two. So as you can see, a little bit of a perfectionist, a little bit of a crazy girl here. And sometimes that perfectionism often leads people to never even start. It's tough because we have all the reasons to not do something and to basically quit, then to keep going and to do something. We wish it was easy. Like, I wish things were easy. Like, honestly, like, I'm all about being disciplined, about da-da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da-da. Like, in my friend group, my bestie would say, like, you're like the most disciplined person ever. But like, do I enjoy it? No. Does it ever get easier? No. Also, if you're looking around, I have notes like down here, kind of where I wrote my thoughts, just because self-doubt has been something that like I've struggled till this day. Literally on a average day, I think I put too much I put too much concealer. See all these people that can't that succeed, and you just think like, wow, like, but it's not going to be me. But like, that is self-doubt. That is not reality. That is not truth. And that's really important to remember. So there's so many areas of where that stems from. And I want to talk about how I kind of start dealing with it. They got way too cakey. We have to redo. So feelings, they come and go. Like, you're not always sad. You're not always happy. And you're not always like ecstatic and feeling it. So if you feel this like feeling, what's good is to just acknowledge the fact that it's there. And what's important with feelings and having so many of them and fluctuating ones is really important to just acknowledge that they exist. And that the thing is, yeah, you're allowed to feel, but you don't have to give power to your feelings. And when it comes to your thoughts, I think what the tricky part is actually the thoughts. Because if you start confusing your feelings with your thoughts, you might start actually believing what you are feeling, and then it becomes into a thought, and then it becomes into a narrative, and that becomes like the trajectory of your life. But where I take a pause is really when I think to myself, okay, is this actually true? So whatever self-doubt that you are experiencing about whatever situation, like for example, I'm trying to run a marathon and I start feeling like I can't do it, oh, like I suck at running, blah 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 blah. And then it's okay to feel like you might suck, but if you keep on kind of telling me I do suck, that's where we kind of run into a big problem, because you actually start believing that. Like, it might suck to go to the gym, or you might doubt that you'll actually make any progress. But when you start telling yourself that I'm not going to make any progress, and you actually start not making progress, that is where I think it becomes a bigger issue. So it's really important to acknowledge your feelings, but also recognize that these are feelings. This is not reality. And that is really hard, because if you're kind of like me, where sometimes you can be in your head a lot, it's really difficult to kind of separate that. But it is so important to separate them. I'm not sure what works for you guys, but I just say to myself, like, oh, I'm sure everyone that is like working towards something will have moments of where they feel like they can't do it. But that's just part of the process. Like, acknowledging that those feelings are part of the process, in other words, is to separate the feeling from the action. You can't let, I was supposed to put blush first. You can't let your emotion be your action. Because what I like to do typically when it comes to having feelings of self-doubt, it's like I acknowledge the feeling, and then also at the same time, it's like I will still keep doing what I want to do. So just because I have feelings of self-doubt that I'm making any progress, or I'm actually getting closer to the end or the result, which is like where most of us are kind of like oriented, I don't let it get that in the way of actually doing the task. And that's really hard. I think that jump is really important. But the way that I kind of just do it is redirect that energy that I have in my emotion and put it into the task. I don't know if that made sense. Girlies, let me know in the comments if I actually am making sense. Also, I really wanted to preface this. I am a person in these podcasts, or I don't want to call them podcasts, that sounds so corny. But in these videos, it's more of a discussion. I'm talking through things as like I'm experiencing them, and also like through my lived experience. And I don't want this to be like a this is not therapy. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a clinician. I never was. I'm a person, I'm a girly on the internet that has lived some life and has some wisdom, and I want to create a community of girlies and other people that are really interested in the deep conversations that we have, that are honest and they're raw, and also like talking to each other from a human perspective as we are just figuring it out while looking cute and doing your makeup. Because literally, no matter what the day is and no matter the discussion, what we're gonna do is always look cute. Essentially what I'm saying, the key to getting over self-doubt is getting over it. It's like pushing through the feelings regardless of the fact that they're there. Also, look at this bottle. And then slowly as you're actually doing the things that you're working towards, you will see progress. You go to the gym. It's just an easy example to give. And you feel like there's no progress, this, that, and the third. But you still keep pushing, even though you feel a lot of self-doubt. You're going to see progress at the end of the day at some point. And that's the funny thing. If you just can push through the feelings and prove to yourself that, hey, regardless of the voices of doubt that I feel, I am still going to show up for myself because I deserve that. I deserve this. I deserve to prove to myself that I am resilient. So by doing that, not only are you being consistent, you're being disciplined, you're building resilience. And while you're kind of like beating self-doubt, you are making progress. Because taking that energy that's coming from those feelings that are so deeply rooted, and then you're kind of rebelling against that voice. You're rebelling against that voice that's telling you, no, you can't do it. Which is probably not even how you truly feel. It's probably just how other people and events in your life have made you feel. But here's the really important thing, and the great thing about life. You can change that at any moment in time and just say, hold on, that doesn't have to be me. And so, did the self-doubt ever go away? No. So that's where I clickbaited you. Do the feelings ever go away? No. At least not for me. But what has come throughout the years of fighting that voice is that I've built enough confidence to believe in myself to say that I can overcome this. If I was able to do this and overcome my self-doubt, then I'll be able to do this next thing. And so every new event will propel some self-doubt in me where like I feel like, can I really do it? Can I really do this and that? But I just kind of got used to it, because if you hear enough self-doubt in yourself, you're just like, oh, it's kind of part of the process. I don't know if anyone else has kind of viewed it like this and experienced it like this, but also look at that packaging. But that's kind of what has been there for me, because I will have really loud feelings of doubt, like very loud. But because I choose to do what I'm supposed to do regardless, I'm making progress and I eventually get to my goal. And if I don't, that doesn't mean that I can't do it. A lot of times that is just a sign of redirection. And that has been a lot of how I coped with self-doubt. Something I've struggled with like literally all of my life. Also, this ombre lip is so stunning. Look at that lip. All right, girlies, I hope you liked this video. I hope it resonated with you. If not, let me know how you deal with self-doubt. Have you even dealt with self-doubt? I would love to meet a person who's never felt any doubt. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Imagine they're like so confident they don't, like, that's crazy. I'm like, what do you eat in the morning? Because I need to eat that. Anyway, if you love the makeup look or you hate it or you tried any of the products, and make sure you like, subscribe, follow me on the socials. I was going to skip this part. I was freaking like forget to say that. And make sure you stay safe.